Hello, music fans. October is now over, so it's time to talk about my top five albums released in October 2021. I'm starting with number five, which is going to be Every Time I Die with their new album Radical. This is metalcore, and yeah, it's kind of like got a southern rock hint to it. Um, as well as just like a hardcore punk vibe. It's not like the metalcore like Bullet for My Valentine with like the screamy riffy verses and pop singy kind of emo-y choruses. This is a lot more raw sounding metalcore, sometimes bordering on like mathcore even. So it's a lot more intense than what people typically associate with the most popular metalcore, but they're definitely one of the most consistent metalcore bands. For me, it's them and Killswitch Engage, the most consistent output um, from those metalcore bands from the early 2000s that are still going strong today. And my favorite song on this album right now, I'm gonna be lame and pick a lot of like just some of the ones that were released as singles as my favorite songs because I think these bands this month did a pretty good job picking the songs to release as singles. So I'm picking Post Boredom. So there's a music video for that. It's a single, Every Time I Die. Really catchy song, catchy vocal melodies and riffs in that one. Just really groovy to bob your head to. My number four album of the month is Mastodon with Hushed and Grim. I should also say that this month has been one of the strongest months for releases. So all five of these are like sitting in my top 10 of the year so far. It's been the strongest month for new music all year, in my opinion. So Mastodon, Hushed and Grim, sitting at number four this month, it would have easily been in the top three or two or one of most other months. This is a progressive metal album. It's got a bit of hints of their earlier sludge metal sound. Some of the stuff almost sounds kind of doomy. It's got a bit of like stoner and psychedelic vibes to it. There's some songs that are heavy, like their old works where they used to all their vocals were harsh vocals. Now they're a lot more melodic and it's more about singing. But some of the riffs and aggression and speed on some of the songs harken back to their old more aggressive earlier sludge metal work, but then they also have a lot of acoustic and soft numbers and some of that country twang and that like chicken picking guitar solo style of Brent Hines, and his guitar solos on this album are pretty amazing. So it's pretty like bluesy playing, like Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin kind of stuff, but then he throws in this uh, country chicken picking guitar picking style that makes him sound unique. You can immediately tell when it's him playing. So I like this album. I still have a slight preference for the one before it, Emperor of Sand, but I've only listened to this twice, so maybe it'll grow on me a bit more. A lot of their albums do tend to be growers and take multiple listens to really appreciate. And number three, Dream Theater, A View from the Top of the World. And yeah, they're undoubtedly going to be on here. Everything they release is amazing. Uh, I don't know if this is one of their best yet. It's still maybe kind of average, standard Dream Theater fare among their catalog, but average for Dream Theater is usually really amazing for other people. I don't know if they're ever going to reach the heights that they reached on Metropolis Part 2 or Images and Words or Octavarium. Again, I think those days might be behind us, but they're still some of the best musicians in the game. All the instrumental performances on here are amazing. The vocals sound pretty good. They're a bit lower than what they usually do because James LeBrie's vocal range may be getting a little bit lower, but his performances sounded good on the album. Um, my favorite song here, The Alien. I don't know if I mentioned a favorite song for Mastodon. I'll say Pushing the Tides. And then my number two, 12 Foot Ninja with their album Vengeance. This is like alternative metal with like funky vibes and a bit of avant-garde like genre bending and some djent grooves thrown in there. It's a pretty interesting sound. And this might be their best album. It's hard. All their albums are good. This is their third album, I believe. I'm thinking it could be their best work right now, but they're all so good that it's hard to even say. My favorite song here is going to be Over and Out, and that features Tatiana from Ginger on guest vocals and just has a really catchy chorus. And my number one album of the month is by the band Others by No One, and it's called Book 2, Where Stories Come From. And this is progressive metal, kind of like Native Construct is the closest band I can think of in terms of the sound. But Native Construct's not that well known, so maybe like Between the Buried and Me, if you like that, or Haken, bands like that. And then it's also, I believe, it's a continuation of the concept and story from their first album, Book 1. So I think they might be doing like a concept discography, kind of like Coheed and Cambria or the Deer Hunter does, where they continue concepts across multiple albums and keep the same story going. They also have a bit of musical influence from Coheed and Cambria and Deer Hunter, I think. Specifically some of the like 1950s sounding Broadway crooning stuff that you can hear in the Deer Hunter sometimes. You can hear that present in Others by No One. Really solid album. I was pleasantly surprised to hear something that good from a band that's not as well known as the others on my list here. And that's it for my top 5 of October. Stay tuned at the end of November for my top 5 albums of November. Peace out.